The last thing we have in this lesson is to work with evaluation. In evaluation, you have to make sure that that's where you substitute in a number for a letter. And they're always going to tell us what each letter is worth. So here is the information they're giving us for what each letter is going to be worth. Okay, so we've got R is -12, S is 41, and T is -88. Now the key thing to remember, now that we're working with integers, you must remember to write all symbols that are present in the original expression. You cannot leave negative signs off just because the number that you're substituting in is negative. Okay, so that's a key thing to remember, and that's the most common made mistake that kids perform. Okay, so here, if I enlarge this, I'm going to substitute in first. I'm not going to worry about the absolute value bars. I'm not going to worry about the negative signs. But if these negative signs are there, I have to also put them in my equation. So when I rewrite this, I'm going to bring these down so I don't forget them. And I have a minus sign here. Okay, now I can go through and write out what R was worth. R was worth -12, so -12. And I don't want to forget my little absolute value bars here. I'm going to write those really quick so I don't forget about them. Okay, T is worth -88. Okay, take note, I kept this original negative. I did not get rid of it just because that 88 had a negative sign. Now I'm going to go through and simplify. Okay, so when I simplify, ooh, I see a double negative right here, which becomes plus. And I still have a -12 here. Okay, so now I'm going to think of that as its own problem, and then I'll deal with the absolute value bars. Those absolute value bars are telling you solve everything inside until you get down to a single digit answer, or not single digit, but a single answer. And then work off of absolutely how far is that number from 0. So -12 plus 88, those are different symbols. I'm going to find the difference. See how these are different, a negative and a positive? So the difference between 88 and 12 would give me, let's see, 78 would be -10, so -2 more would give me 74. Okay, so now this is what I have left over. This negative sign, an absolute value, and I just said that the answer to this here was 74, and it's a positive 74 because the larger digit had a positive in front of it, so 74. No, not 74, by golly, 76. I don't know why I said 74. Okay, so now when I go through and I simplify, let's see, an absolute value of 76 is absolutely how far from 0? It is 76 places from 0. Now I apply that negative sign that's on the outside. Remember, we practiced that in lesson, I think it was lesson 1. Okay, we practiced that concept. So here, we're now going to apply our negative. This ends up being -76. Okay, lots of steps. Evaluation is not an easy thing. You have to remember to include those original symbols. Okay, you have to work your way through. These are great ones to go through, solve, check with a partner. Okay, kind of check to see that you filled in everything correctly, because there's lots of spots that you can make really simple mistakes. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and bring these two negative signs down just so I don't forget them. Most common made mistake. Nice thing is no absolute value bars on this one. Okay, so now I'm just going to substitute in. Okay, T was worth -88. So -88. S was worth 41. So I'm going to put a 41 here. And R was -12. So I have to write a -12. Okay, take note. I kept these negatives in the problem. Now I have to go through and simplify where I can. So this is what we were just working on the previous slide and the slide before. Okay, simplify. Get rid of those double negatives that are right next to each other. Now you guys were used to seeing a little parenthesis around those. The parenthesis doesn't have to be there. Okay, so I have -88. minus 41. These two negatives become a positive, so plus 12. Now, if you're somebody that needs to see this plus sign between these two negative numbers, then you are going to have to decide that that's what you need to do. Some of you are going to be beyond that. You don't need to put the plus sign in there because you're going to look at each of these as individual integers and you're going to look at the symbol in front of them to combine. So when I look at it, I look and say, hey, these both have a negative sign. Okay, so I'm going to chunk them together. I'm going to put them together. Same symbol, find the sum. So 88 plus 41 gives me 129. Now they both have a negative sign. Same symbol, find the sum, apply the same symbol. So that's negative 129 plus 12 now. Okay, different symbols, find the difference. So 129 minus 12 gives me 117 for the digit. Now I have to decide if it's positive or negative. Look at your digits here in your original. Which is bigger, 129 or 12? Well, 129 it had a negative sign, so it's a negative answer. Negative 117 is what you should have gotten for that one. All right, last one. I want you to go through, practice your substituting in, and solve for this. So if you need to pause the video for some extra time, go ahead and do that. These take time. Okay, so don't forget, most common made mistake. Kids forget to take these original symbols and include them. So that would be my first step, is to go through and make sure that I write those in. So go ahead, pause your video and work your way through this problem. You should have ended up with, when you solved this out, positive 35. Okay, if you didn't get that, check with myself, check with somebody else. First thing to check would be, did I write everything down? Did I remember my negatives that were in the original problems? Okay, then you're gonna have to go through, did I combine my integers correctly? All right, this is a complex process. It takes time to get comfortable with it, okay? So you have to practice those skills.